Hey, this is Tim with EarCandyCabs.com, EarCandyTV.com. We're going to talk a little bit about speakers today. A few common questions I get asked all the time, a few simple answers. Alright, first of all, dust caps and voice coils. This right here is your dust cap. Just a little circular piece of the speaker located in the center of the speaker cone. Here you have a 3.5-inch dust cap, and here you have a 2-inch dust cap. Underneath, you actually have the voice coil and spider. There's a big misconception that whatever size the dust cap is whatever size your voice coil is. This is not so. As you can see, the speaker here with the 2-inch dust cap has a 2-inch voice coil. The speaker with a 3.5-inch dust cap also has a 2-inch voice coil. So it's, you know, a decent way of maybe trying to guess at the size of the voice coil, but it's not 100% to say the least. So underneath here is where you actually have your voice coil, and the voice coil is what determines the ohm load or resistance of the speaker. Here you have the voice coil leads, and as you can see, this is a 16 ohm voice coil, so it will have more resistance or more of an ohm load than an 8 ohm, obviously. And attached to that top of the voice coil or bottom of the speaker cone is the spider, which does a couple of things. It allows the speaker to travel back and forth in its frame of motion within a certain distance, which is called the X-max of the speaker. If you blow the X-max, you've blown the speaker. A couple other things I get asked about quite often is, what is the difference between a cast aluminum frame and a steel frame? Well, obviously, other than one's made out of steel and one's made out of aluminum, there's a couple of differences. The cast aluminum frames usually have a stacked rim, where the rim is 1/4 or even sometimes 3/8 of an inch thick. Like this is a sugar cone here. This is a frame for an old EVM 12L. You can see this is a cast aluminum frame. It's much like exactly how they cast the aluminum heads for like Nissan vehicles and things like that. Steel is pressed. It's not cast. So that's basically the difference. Also, steel will degrade the value of the magnet on the frame itself, whereas aluminum does not, because aluminum is not a magnetic material. The difference between cast frame and steel frame speakers is basically that. Then you have a small difference between the steel frame speakers these days. You have some really cheap crap coming out in the steel frame world out of China. You've got these steel frames for a very popular brand that I've cut up here. There's no bead rolling. Many times the edges of the cutouts will literally cut your fingers if you're not careful when I'm taking them out of the box. And if you put this in between your knees, you could actually bend it. It's just real thin and frail, and then certainly not worth the money that they're asking us to pay for them. Then you have a very well-made frame that's made in Italy, and it is bead rolled. And what I mean by that is, see that bead that's rolled into the frame on every frame support, and the edges are curled in. All 4 edges of the cutout are curled in and finished, so you can't cut yourself when you're handling the speaker. But that bead right there makes the speaker frame extremely strong. I could park my truck on top of this speaker. So on to a few other parts of the speaker. Here you have the speaker tabs. These are solder tabs. These require either having a speaker wire soldered to them or speaker tabs tabbed onto them. So you have solderless and soldered speaker terminals. These are the ones that you solder right here. Okay. Then the solderless terminals are like these, where you have a pressurized with a spring style push down button. You load the speaker wire in, release the spring, and that's it. There's no soldering required. And that's the difference between a solderless speaker and a speaker that you have to solder. Another question I get asked when I'm talking about speakers is, what do I mean by 8-bolt and 4-bolt speakers? Okay, an 8-bolt speaker takes 8 screws to fully attach it to the baffle or to the cabinet that you're installing it in. A 4-bolt obviously would then only take 4. Many times when the speakers are tightened down, and not even necessarily over tightened, just tightened down where they feel tight, by hand with a correct size Phillips screwdriver. On a 4-bolt speaker, you can see it bending between the 2 pressure points of the bolts that are attaching it to the baffle. In my professional opinion, this is really poor and not good, because you don't have the full surface of the speaker touching the full surface of the baffle of the cab, so you're not getting as much resonance and sustain out of the speaker and cabinet as you could as if you had an 8-bolt speaker. That in a nutshell is voice coils, dust caps, frames, 4-bolt, 8-bolt, speaker tabs, and we'll get into the different kinds of magnets, how to install them, and a couple other things that I get asked quite often in a couple more videos to come here. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to shoot it over in a comment, post it in a video response. And one other thing I was going to show you is speaker dope. Some speakers have a lot of dope on them, some speakers don't have any dope. People ask me, what is speaker dope and what does it do? What is it going to do for my speaker? Okay, well, what speaker dope is this thick, gloopy stuff right here. That's speaker dope. And I hand apply it to the speakers before they ship out all the green machines here. Everything's hand done on those with the doping. But what it is see the thick shiny stuff on the rim of that speaker cone right there? That's speaker dope. Now some speakers have it, some speakers don't have any of it. It just depends on what the speaker designer is doing, and what they have in mind for the speaker resonance. What it does is basically it cuts down on the vibration of the speaker surround in the frame, where it meets the frame, and it also cuts down on what's known as cone cry, because it actually will help control the vibration and resonance of the speaker and make it more even, and the sound pressure levels from the surround of the speaker coming out are evened out more by the layers of dope being applied. But we'll get into that further in another video, and we'll even show you how to properly dope a speaker and repair a voice coil if you need to. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.